Ethan Sinclair had everything: a thriving business, luxury cars, and a mansion in the heart of the city. Yet beneath the wealth, he felt an emptiness. His heart longed for something genuine, a love untouched by money or status. One day, during a charity event, Ethan met Lily, a kind-hearted, humble woman who worked as a librarian. Her laughter was sincere, and her eyes sparkled with kindness. But Ethan's wealth had often attracted the wrong people. He needed to know if Lily would love him for who he was, not what he owned. Determined, Ethan devised a plan. He dressed in simple, worn-out clothes, leaving behind his tailored suits and expensive watches. He rented a small, modest apartment and invited Lily over, pretending it was his home. When she arrived, her eyes scanned the tiny room, yet she smiled warmly. They spent the evening talking, laughing, and sharing dreams. Ethan watched her closely, expecting judgment or disappointment, but she only saw him the man, not the circumstances. "Why didn't you ever mention your living situation?" she asked gently. "I didn't think it mattered," Ethan replied, his heart pounding. "It doesn't," she said softly. "I care about you, not where you live or what you have." Ethan's eyes welled with emotion. He had found the love he had been searching for, a love that didn't see wealth but saw the soul. Days later, he revealed the truth. Lily was stunned, but not angry. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "You didn't have to test me. I had to be sure," Ethan said, his voice trembling. "Now, I know you're my forever." Lily smiled, and in that moment, Ethan realized he had found the most precious. After Ethan revealed the truth, an unexpected silence filled the room. Lily's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she processed his confession. The weight of the moment pressed on both of them, the air thick with emotions neither knew how to fully express. "I didn't want to deceive you." Ethan finally broke the silence, his voice soft. "But I've seen too many people care only about my wealth. I couldn't risk losing you to a false intention." Lily took a deep breath, her hands trembling slightly. "I understand why you did it," she replied, her voice steady yet filled with raw emotion. "But love is built on trust, Ethan. I wish you had trusted me enough from the beginning." Ethan's heart sank. "I know I've hurt you, and that's the last thing I ever wanted to do. Please, give me a chance to make it right." She looked into his eyes, searching for sincerity. "I need time, Ethan. This wasn't just a small lie. It was a test, and love shouldn't be tested like that." Days passed, each one heavier than the last. Ethan tried reaching out, sending messages and flowers, but Lily remained distant. He realized that love wasn't just about finding someone who cared for him, it was about learning to care for someone else's heart with the same devotion. Finally, after a week, Lily agreed to meet him. They sat in a quiet cafe, the tension palpable. "I've thought a lot about us," she began, stirring her coffee. "You were afraid of being hurt, and I get that. But love is about vulnerability. If we're going to build something real, there can't be walls between us." Ethan nodded, his voice thick with emotion. "I promise you, no more walls. No more tests. Just us." She reached across the table, her hand resting on his. "I believe in second chances. Let's build this love the right way with honesty." Relief washed over Ethan, and for the first time in a long while, he felt at peace. They walked out of the safe hand in hand, their bond stronger for having faced the shadows of doubt and emerging with a promise of truth. Their love, tested and true, now had the foundation to withstand any storm. And as they walked forward together, they both knew that their real journey had just begun. Weeks turned into months, and Ethan and Lily's relationship deepened. They spent their days exploring the city, sharing quiet moments, and learning each other's stories. Slowly, the wounds of Ethan's deception began to heal, replaced by a deeper trust. One evening, they sat on the balcony of Ethan's mansion, the city lights twinkling in the distance. Lily sipped her tea, her eyes lost in thought. "What's on your mind?" Ethan asked gently, sensing her hesitation. Lily smiled softly. "Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if you'd been honest from the start. Would we be here, like this?" Ethan looked out at the skyline, his voice contemplative. "I think about that too. But sometimes mistakes lead us to the right path. I've learned more about love from you than I ever thought possible. Lily's eyes met his. I've learned from you too. Love isn't about perfection. It's about growth. Ethan reached for her hand, his heart full of gratitude. I want to build a future with you, Lily. Not because of what I have, but because of who we are together. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, but they were tears of joy. I've been waiting to hear that. As the months passed, they planned a future built on mutual respect and honesty. They visited Lily's modest apartment, where she shared childhood memories, and Ethan took her to the family estate, where he showed her the simpler parts of his past. One evening, Ethan led Lily to a small garden hidden behind his mansion. Lanterns lit the path, casting a warm glow. At the center, a table was set under a canopy of stars. "What's all this?" Lily asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Ethan took a deep breath. "This is where I want our next chapter to begin." He knelt, pulling out a small velvet box. "Lily, you taught me the true meaning of love. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Lily's face as she nodded. "Yes, Ethan." 1,000 times yes, as they embraced. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, whispering promises of a future filled with love not perfect, but real. They had faced their trials, weathered doubts, and emerged stronger together. Their love story, tested and true, was just beginning a journey not of wealth or appearances, but of two hearts learning to beat. The days following their engagement were filled with joy and anticipation. Friends and family gathered to celebrate, their laughter echoing through the grand halls of Ethan's mansion. Yet, amidst the celebrations, Ethan and Lily remained grounded, knowing their love was built on a foundation stronger than wealth, honesty, trust, and growth. One afternoon, as they strolled through a quiet park, hand in hand, Lily's eyes sparkled with a mix of excitement and nostalgia. "Ethan," she said, her voice soft, "I want our wedding to reflect who we are. Not the grandeur, but the journey. Simple, meaningful." Ethan smiled, squeezing her hand. "I couldn't agree more. A ceremony that tells our story, surrounded by the people who matter." They decided to hold the wedding in a small countryside chapel, away from the city's noise. Lily spent days planning the details, choosing wildflowers for decorations and soft music that spoke of their journey. Ethan, who had once been accustomed to lavish events, found a new kind of joy in simplicity. On the day of the wedding, the sun bathed the countryside in a golden glow. Friends and family gathered in the chapel, their faces filled with anticipation. As the music began, Lily walked down the aisle, her dress simple yet elegant, her eyes locked on Ethan's. When she reached him, they shared a quiet moment, their hearts speaking louder than words. The officiant began. "Today, we celebrate not just a union, but a story of love tested and true. A journey that reminds us all that real love is found not in riches, but in the spaces between vulnerability and trust." As they exchanged vows, their voices trembled with emotion. "I promise to love you for who you are," Lily whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. "Not for what you have, but for the heart you've shown me." Ethan's voice was thick with emotion. "I promise to always choose honesty, to stand by you through every trial. You've taught me the true meaning of love." When they sealed their vows with a kiss, the chapel erupted in applause. But for Ethan and Lily, the world around them faded. In that moment, they were simply two souls, connected by a love that had weathered every storm. As they walked out of the chapel, hand in hand, the sun dipped low, casting a warm, golden light across the fields. They knew the road ahead wouldn't be perfect, but it would be theirs, filled with moments of growth, laughter, and a love that had been tested and proven true. Their story wasn't over. It was just beginning a journey of two hearts.